Hello and welcome to Spardha Lines, your one-stop destination for the civil services preparation, UPSC, KPSC and other relevant examinations. Today we picked up a couple of important articles from the Hindu which are very significant from your UPSC and your KPSC examination point of view. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article on the Hindu speaks about Deve Gowda welcomes increase in MSP for copra. Let us try and understand what is this article in greater detail. This article here is important from your GS paper 3, which is from the economy related aspects. The article here is speaking about the minimum support price. First, let us try and understand what is this concept of minimum support price. As the very name denotes, it speaks about minimum support that is provided to the farmers by according the price to the commodities as well as to the crops. What exactly happens? Let's say for example, we have the farmer who's produced onion, or let's say for example, we have the farmer who's produced, let's say, rice, paddy, wheat, so on and so forth. In this particular case, he would be expecting a certain amount of price for his crops. For example, he would be expecting that this crop of paddy which he is produced, which he is intending to leave it in the market so that he is able to fetch a particular price for his crop. But then because of the market changes that has taken over, the farmer would not be able to get the accurate price and the expected price. So what would happen? The farmer would not be able to get the expected price, and this could lead to a lot of anxiety and stress for the farmer. There have been ample number of cases as well where these crops that are grown are thrown open in the fields. These crops that are grown are given away free by the farmers, and at the same time, because he is not able to get the right price for his particular crop, there have been examples where the farmer has even committed suicides as well. In order to ensure that such exigencies do not occur, what we have is the Government of India, which gives what is called as the minimum support price. What is this minimum support price? It is that particular price below which the farmer's product will not be procured by the Food Corporation of India. It is that particular price above which the product can be procured, but it is the minimum price for which that particular product will be procured by the Food Corporation of India or by any other government agencies. For example, if it is paddy, or for example if it is wheat, there will be a particular pricing that will be given to this crop, and the government will procure this product or this particular crop only for that relevant pricing or much beyond it as well, which is called as the minimum support price. So as the name denotes, it is that minimum price that is given to the farmer so that he does not suffer any kind of losses. So the farmer would have invested a huge amount of money. He would have even taken some of the money from the bank as well as from the brokers as well as the middlemen. So in order for him to survive, in order for him to make profits, there will be a commission, and this commission is called as the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. So we have the Government of India under the Ministry of Agriculture. So the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices is an attached office of the Ministry of Agriculture. What will they do? They will look at couple of components as well. What are the components? Let's say for example, if the farmer has to grow wheat, what will happen? There will be input costs as well. What are the input costs? For example, he has to ensure that he buys this particular good. He has to ensure that he also buys the fertilizer as well. If at all this person is produced this wheat, he has to take it to the market. So the cost of production, changes in the input price, input output price parity, trends in the market prices, demand and supply, intercrop price parity, effect on industrial cost structure, effect on cost of living, effect on general price level, international price situation, parity between prices paid and prices received by the farmers, effect on issue prices and implications for subsidy, each of which will be taken up by the Commission for the Agricultural Costs and Prices, and ultimately a conclusion will be drawn and they will go ahead and fix a minimum support price for that particular crop. So basically, when we speak about the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, it makes the recommendation and ultimately the government will implement this particular process. And this Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices is an attached office under the Ministry of Agriculture, which can be another important factor for your preliminary examination. So the CACP submits its recommendation to the government in the form of price policy reports every year separately for 5 groups of commodities, namely kharif crops, rabi crops, sugarcane, raw jute as well as copra. When we speak about crops, how many crops have been defined under the minimum support price category? We have as many as 22. So we have as many as 22 products for which the minimum support price has been given. So there was a UPSC question in the past as well where they have asked, these are the crops which have been given the minimum support price, which is not supposed to have been included in this particular minimum support price. So you have to know which are the crops that will be given the minimum support price. For example, there are about 14 kharif crops, there are about 6 rabi crops, there are about 2 commercial crops. So overall, out of 22, what we have is 14 kharif crops, we have about 6 rabi crops, and we have about 2 commercial crops. Which are these crops is what you have to put on the comment section, because in the past we have had UPSC ask such questions, so you have to know what are the questions that can be asked as well. So these 22 crops are being given what is called as the minimum support price. So this article here is speaking about copra. What is copra? Copra is nothing but the dry coconut. So if you remove the shell outside, you have the coconut that is present. This coconut that is put out in the general, this is put out in the open and the temperature is dried up. So there is drying up of the coconut that takes place. So this dry coconut out of which oil is extracted is called as copra. So we have the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs which has fixed the minimum support price of milling copra at 11,160 per quintal and ball copra at 12,000 per quintal for the 2024 season. So this ultimately means that the government of India has proposed that they will be giving this much for copra. Copra is nothing but the dry coconut out of which oil is extracted. So milling copra is used to extract oil. There is white ball and edible copra which is consumed as a dry fruit, which can be important from your preliminary examination point of view. So remember, the white ball is consumed as a dry fruit and it is also used for religious purposes. Kerala and Tamil Nadu are major producers of milling copra, whereas ball copra is produced predominantly in the state of Karnataka. And whenever the minimum support prices are guaranteed to the copra farmers, there are two things that happen. One, there is incentive that is given to the farmer so that he is able to reap the benefits out of it. He is able to get remunerative prices out of it. So he is getting the incentive. So he is getting the minimum support price, and at the same time, so that he doesn't suffer the losses, and at the same time, it gives a moral boost to him so that he is able to grow more crops with respect to the copra. So what are the two advantages of it? He's getting the minimum support price, that is acting as an incentive, and it is also giving a moral boost to him so that he can grow more of these coconut trees in the near future. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says millisecond burst from a magnetar detected by AstroSat. This article here is important from your GS paper 3, which is about science and technology. It can be very important from your science and technology paper. What is AstroSat? AstroSat happens to be first dedicated Indian astronomy mission aimed at studying the celestial sources in X-ray, optical and UV spectral bands simultaneously. One of the unique features of AstroSat mission is that it enables the simultaneous multi-wavelength observation of various astronomical objects within a single satellite. So within a single satellite, it is able to see what are the various aspects that are taking place in the place. That is, in the space you have couple of celestial objects, you have astronomical objects. With the help of a single satellite, it is able to view what exactly is happening with couple of celestial objects that are placed in the space. So what are the objectives of this particular program? To understand high energy processes in the binary star system containing neutron stars and black holes. What is a binary star system? As the very name denotes, you have two stars. So when two stars are present and they are revolving around each other, that is what is called as the binary star system. Then what we have is the magnetic fields of the neutron stars. So this particular project or the mission will basically estimate the magnetic fields of the neutron stars. Then it will study the star birth regions and high energy process in the star system lying beyond our galaxy. So which is our galaxy? Please put it on the comment section. So beyond our galaxy, it will also study how exactly the star birth happens. What are the regions beyond our galaxy where the star birth region happens? That is taken into picture by this mission. It will detect new briefly bright X-ray sources in the sky, and it will perform a limited deep field survey of the universe in the ultraviolet region. So the AstroSat happens to be India's first multi-wavelength space-based observatory which has detected bright sub-second X-ray bursts from a new unique neutron star with an ultra high magnetic field called as the magnetar. So what is a magnetar? Magnetars are nothing but neutron stars having an ultra high magnetic field. So what are these? These are nothing but stars, but they have high magnetic field. So if at all there is a question which asks you, what is a magnetar? Remember, it is nothing but a star, but this star has a very high magnetic field. So a star which possesses very high magnetic field is what is called as the magnetar. So magnetars are neutron stars having very high ultramagnetic field that are much stronger than the terrestrial magnetic field. So simply put, the magnetic field of a magnetar is over 1 quadrillion times stronger than the magnetic field of the star, of the earth. What powers the emission of high energy electromagnetic radiation in them is the decay of magnetic fields in these objects. So what happens? You have a star. So what is the star? This star has a lot of magnetic field. It is more than quadrillion times that of the normal star that is present on the earth. Similarly, whenever we are speaking about why there is excess amount of magnetic radiations that are emanating, remember these are the ones which there is a decay of the magnetic fields in these objects. Because there is decay of the magnetic fields in these objects, it is emanating a lot of magnetic field as well. Besides, magnetars display strong temporal variability, typically including a slow rotation, a rapid spin down, bright but short burst going up on, and that will lead to an outburst as well. These are some of the features of the magnetars. So remember, what are the features? This includes temporal variability, slow rotation, a rapid spin, bright but short burst going on up for months, and this includes long overbursts as well. Motivated to study the magnetar and explore its characteristics in the broad range X-ray energies with AstroSat, scientists from the Raman Research Institute and University of Delhi performed the timing and spectral analysis of this magnetar using two instruments. Which are these instruments? One happens to be large area X-ray proportional counter and soft X-ray telescope. These were used to ultimately conclude that there were milli-second bursts from the magnetar which are detected by the AstroSat. These are some of the important parameters that we have to understand from the examination point of view. Now let's look into the next article. This article says the quest for happiness in the Viksit Bharat Odyssey. What is this Viksit Bharat? Viksit Bharat happens to be an initiative of the Government of India where it wants to make sure that India happens to be a completely developed country by the year 2047. Why was this initiative taken by the Government of India? That is because the Government of India feels that India got its independence in the year 1947. At the celebration of the century, that is in the year 2047, what we need to have is a developed country. So the Government of India feels to ensure that we have a developed country, this has to be on the basis of economic prosperity. This has to be on the basis of economic prosperity where this will ensure the empowerment of all sections of the society. What we will also have is the political development. What we will also have is the social development. What we will also have is the environmental development. So development in terms of governance, development in terms of economic prosperity, development in terms of political political justice, empowerment in terms of social development will all be taken and it will be given to the people of the country, which is the agenda of Viksit Bharat. So what is Viksit Bharat all about? Viksit Bharat happens to be an initiative of the government of India where it wants to see India as a developed country by the year 2047. Why? That is because in the year 2047, what we will be celebrating is a century of Indian independence, and during this particular moment, what we should have is free India, where at the same time we need to be developed according to the government of India. So this article says that the intention of the government of India to see economic prosperity is good. It is an ultimate decision that the government of India has taken. So apart from the economic prosperity, what the government of India should also keenly look is with respect to the happiness of the people. There are many countries world over. For example, if we take the example of United States of America, United States of America happens to be a developed country according to the standards that have been established. But are people in United States of America happy? No. You have the World Happiness Report. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section who releases this World Happiness Report. So whenever we are speaking about the World Happiness Report, there is a particular criterion that has been established. What is the criterion? The happiness matrix basically includes 6 variables. This can be very important from a preliminary examination point of view: GDP per capita, healthy life expectancy at birth, generosity, social support, freedom to make life choices, and perception on the corruption. That apart, the happiness report of 2023 placed extra emphasis on trust and benevolence in crisis situations such as COVID-19. So on the basis of these 6 parameters and the criterion that have been established in the happiness report, what this article says is that we have couple of countries like United States of America. Yes, they are developed on an economic level. They have a developed quotient that they are able to meet up as well. But are they really happy? Are the people happy when it comes to the social scenario? Are the people happy when it comes to all these criterion that have been fixed? So the answer is a clear-cut no. So the author goes on to say that what India has envisaged for the year 2047 in terms of the economic prosperity is good, but added to the economic prosperity, what we have to do is think about when it comes to the real happiness. So this article goes on to say that there are few rich nations who are economically prosperous, but are they really happy? No. Which is why the author goes on to say that if at all, if we look into the ranking, India's case is also crucial because it is ranked 126 out of 137 countries despite being the 5th largest economy. Despite us being the 5th largest economy, are we really happy? That's what is the ultimate purpose of life. We do all the economic activities or the economic prosperity basically to stay happy as well. Are we really happy? That is a question that the author is asking. So if at all we have to be happy, economic prosperity is a necessity, but added to it, we have to work on all these aspects, says the author. Another important factor that we have to look into is that when we speak about happiness, it is also about the social setting as well. It is about the social parameters and the society that we live in as well. So apart from the internal happiness that we feel as an individual, the societal happiness also comes into the picture. So when we speak about the societal happiness, it is more about kindness. It is about showing sympathy. It is empathizing with the cause of another person, showing the compassion to another person, do what we basically would be able to do as a gratitude, as a sign of kindness. If at all we are able to showcase a pinch of kindness, we are able to showcase a pinch of charity by donating to the charity work, volunteering in helping a stranger, that can add more value to the system as well as the society. So according to the reports, we have Finland, Denmark, Iceland and Netherlands, which are the happiest countries across the world. These countries achieve development not at the cost of the social disruption, but instead they have also built social connections as well. Especially during the COVID-19, it was also proved that social connections are very important. Especially during this particular period, each of us started helping one another as well, because there was lack of oxygen during this period. There were no hospitals as well. Many people lost their jobs as well. Many people were living at their homes. They were not able to make a livelihood means and mechanisms. So each of us have contributed to the society in a way that we all know. It is at this particular point that we have to understand that social connections are as much as important as well as the economic connections. So bringing about a smile on the people by ensuring that we are all part of this journey. As much as we grow, we should also allow another person to grow. So what we have to do is bring about, increase the social relationship as well as the cultural mandate. So this article goes on to say that yes, development is a necessity. Economic prosperity is the way forward. But as much as we are looking at economic development, what we have to cater to is the cultural balance and the societal development as well. So what is that we have to look beyond? Apart from the numbers that we are focusing right now, we also have to grow beyond the numbers as well as the GDP. So the European Commission's focus is now moving beyond the GDP, shifting to a measurement of economic performance as well as social progress as well. And at the same time, we have to give importance to the Human Developmental Index, which consists of life expectancy, educational attainment, income level as well. Further, we have the United Nations Research Institute for Social Development in 1970 created what is called as a Social Development Index with about 16 core indicators. Can we include those indicators as part of our policy making? So if at all we are wanting to ensure that there is only economic prosperity, how do we know whether people are happy with it or not? How do we take all sections of the people in our progressive journey? When you look at couple of reports, you have the Oxfam report, which has also concluded the richer are getting rich day after day and the poor are getting poorer as well. So how do we ensure that there is a balance? How do we ensure that there is a social progress? How do we ensure that there is a certain section of the people who are also uplifted, they are also happy? That is by making them inclusive as part of the developmental process, asking them questions, asking them what are the impediments, asking them how can the society contribute for their upliftment. That should be the way forward, and this should be beyond the numbers of GDP. Similarly, the World Bank's Environmentally Sustainable Developmental Division has developed what is called as Green Index. So who has developed this concept called as Green Index? It happens to be the World Bank. So there can be a question which can ask you, which of these institutions has developed a concept called as Green Index? Is it the World Economic Forum? Is it the World Bank? Is it some other organization? Or is it ITSA? So on and so forth. So what you have to remember is the Green Index is a concept that has been supported by the World Bank, where it measures a nation's wealth by incorporating three components. Which are these three components? One is the produced assets, natural resources and the human resources. This has to be part of the environmental sustainability. So if at all we are able to take economic progress, environmental sustainability, then we would have good governance in that particular country. Is what is this article all about. So basically what we will have is the procedure established by law, rule of law that will be put in place, poverty index will be checked into picture, the corruption perception can be taken into picture, then there is gender equality. All of it will ultimately conclude that if at all this inclusive model is brought into the picture, then everyone will be happy, and that will ultimately boost the economic prosperity as well. Is what is this article all about. Now let's look into the next article. This article says UGC releases draft norms on recognition of colleges in India. We have the University Grants Commission, which has published the draft guidelines on recognition of the colleges. What do we have? We have a college. So whether this particular college has to be given any affiliation or not, what are the prescribed parameters that this particular college should have, how many classrooms that this particular college should have, should there be the what should be the faculty strength of it, who should be the faculty, what should be the minimum established eligibility criteria for them, is it the master's degree, is it the bachelor's degree, is it the PhDs that they should hold, how many classrooms should be present, how many labs should be present, if at all there are labs, what are the number of apparatus that should be present, should they have a ground compulsorily, each of it will be defined by the University Grants Commission. So if at all a college is coming into an existence, should it be tagged to a university? If at all it is to be tagged with a university, in addition to the guidelines given by the UGC, there will be university bylaws as well. It should be followed by that particular college. Added to it, if at all this particular college has been given an autonomy status, what are the prescribed guidelines that they have to follow? Everything, each of it has been defined by the UGC. So the University Grants Commission says that the Higher Education Regulatory Authority has sought the comments from the public on the new guidelines. What are these new guidelines? It will be applicable to all the colleges in India. The draft guidelines set conditions for the UGC recognition of a college and states that it should be affiliated to a university in accordance. So the college should be affiliated to a university. For example, you have the Delhi University, you have the Mysore University, Bangalore University, then you have the KSLU, so on and so forth. So there are universities that are present. Each of these universities will also have bylaws as well. So apart from the UGC prescribed laws, these colleges will also have to subscribe to the bylaws that are present of that particular university. The college should comply with all provisions of the UGC Act and the rules and offer programs of study leading to the award of degrees. So if at all there is a recognition that has been given, it should award degrees as well. These degrees should be awarded in such a way that all the parameters that have been established by the UGC are followed. For recognition, a college should furnish documents related to the year of establishment, affiliation certificate issued by the university, and approval of statutory regulatory body. So what are the things that we have to focus? One, when was this institution established, the year of establishment, affiliation certification. What is this affiliation certification? Affiliation certification is, let's say if I am an engineering college. So if there is an engineering college, which university is it attached to? Has it got a certificate from AICTE? So there are prescribed standard and rules and regulations. There are prescribed statutory institutions as well. Have these institutions been validated? Have these institutions been given the permission to establish such a college? So all the proofs that are required for the establishment of this college should be taken from a statutory body. So even before you establish a college, you require certain permissions, you require the licenses that needs to be taken from an institution. Have these institutions given these license is what needs to be taken into consideration. That apart, all existing colleges shall have to obtain UGC recognition under section 2F within 3 years from the date of notification. The colleges established affiliated after the notifications to these regulations shall have to obtain UGC recognition within 3 years of their establishment. That apart, the responsibility of verification of the documents is with the universities. Let's say for example, I am a student. I go and say that I have finished my 10th standard. I have also finished my 12th standard as well. So I go and give my documents to the colleges and I ask the college that, dear college, I want to join this particular course, a BA course, a BCom course, or so on so course. And what is that the college will do? It will ask me for my 10th standard marks card. It will also ask me for my 12th standard marks card. Whether this marks card is right or genuine or fake, everything has to be determined by the college authorities. So after the college authorities have determined, only then they have to give me the validation and ultimately ensure that I am admitted to that particular college. So who has the responsibility to find out whether it is a genuine certificate or a fake certificate or not? It has to be the college. So the responsibility of verifying whether the degree, the 10th and the 12th standard certificates that I have given is right or not will ultimately be given to the college. And if at any time the information provided by the applicant college is found to be incorrect, the UGC may remove the name of the college from that particular list. If at any time, if the college decides that it has given some information which is not right, which is not in following the guidelines that is established by the UGC, that particular college may also be removed from the list of colleges as well. So the college should be very cautious whenever it is giving information to the UGC as well as to the institutions. If any of the information that is given in this particular list happens to be incorrect, in that case its license can also be cancelled as well. But this is where one grey area steps into the picture. You have the UGC which has given permission and subsequently it has realized that this particular college has given some information which is not right. If at all it goes on to cancel, what about the future of the students? Are they entitled to continue their study, or will they have to live at the middle? This is yet not answered in this particular article. So what we have to do is wait and watch for these guidelines to be finally approved. Once it is finally approved, we will take up this in an elaborate way. Now let's look into the next article. This article here is important from your GS paper 3, which is from your science and technology article perspective. So what is this article speaking about? It is speaking about a technology that has been released by Japan called a smart lander for investigating moon. So it is called as the SLIM technology. Why is it called as SLIM? That is because SLIM stands for Smart Lander for investigating the moon. So this SLIM is a technology of Japan, and this happens to be very, very important. So we have the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, which has come up with this particular project. India released Chandrayaan. So Chandrayaan was released, and it has also made a successful launch as well. And immediately after that, everyone were also keenly following this SLIM as well. Why? That is because when it comes to SLIM, it also reached the moon in a much faster pace. Why? That is because SLIM is lighter because it carried very less fuel. When you compare Chandrayaan with SLIM, which happens to be a Japanese technology, how was it able to reach earlier than Chandrayaan, or in fact it happened to reach in much lesser number of days than Chandrayaan? That is because it has carried less number of fuel. It has a much advanced technology as well. Because of the advanced technology, and it was able to carry less fuel, it was able to reach the moon in lesser number of days than Chandrayaan. Of Chandrayaan 3's 3.9 tons, the propulsion module alone weighted 2.1 tons. This is why the mission was launched on July 14 and could reach the moon less than a month later by following a route called as Hoffman transfer orbit. So the Hoffman transfer orbit is something to do with how the satellite reaches the moon. That apart, this article also goes on to speak about what is called as LUPEX. What is LUPEX? Lunar Polar Exploration Mission. So LUPEX will be an India-Japan joint enterprise. And if at all the SLIM program happens to be a successful one, India and Japan will come together and they will execute this particular project called as LUPEX. LUPEX will be India-Japan joint enterprise with an earliest launch in 2026. It will explore an area closer to the moon's south pole than Chandrayaan 3 did, and this makes all the difference for this particular program. So what did we understand? We understood about SLIM. This happens to be an initiative of the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency. What did we understand? We understood about Hoffman transfer orbit, where it is that particular orbit through which we have the satellite reaching the moon. What did we understand? We also understood about LUPEX, which happens to be a joint initiative between India and Japan that will be executed in the year 2026, where they'll be launching the satellite into the south pole of the moon, closer than the Chandrayaan. These are some of the important aspects that you have to understand from your examination point of view. So if you are liking these initiatives, please do like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also share it with your fellow aspirants as well. Thank you for watching. All the best.